After a nightmare of a stage and no hope of conquering a second title, Carlos Sainz returned to the bivouac late at night. Game over, once again, for El Matador. We had the first idea of the problems after a mechanics went to check the car. Unfortunately, the verdict is pretty clear. We won't be able to repair. We won't be able to carry on tomorrow with our car number 303. For the fourth consecutive year, Sainz has to retire before the end. But the race goes on for the Peugeot team, with Peter Hansel comfortably leading the overall. His closest rival, Nasser Al-Attiyah, was actually very interested in the Peugeot 2008. We have to stay focused. We can afford to lose minutes in the upcoming 3 days without a problem. However, our 2008 car remains very young, so we'll be listening to the engine carefully and managing mechanical issues. And off went Petter, leading the way with his interesting 1 hour lead over Al-Attiyah. It's been another superb Dakar for Emiliano Spataro in his Renault. The Argentinian is currently 16th overall and closing in on his best result ever, which was 14th spot 2 years ago. Still impressive was Vladimir Vasiliev, 3rd yesterday. The Russian is in the fight for a top 10 spot overall. Despite the odd off-track excursion. After his dreadful start to the rally, Nani Roma is moving up the standings. 6th on the day, the Spaniard is well established now in the top 10. Scant reward for what could have been.
Kilometer to the next speed zone.
A very decent day for Yazid Al-Raji in his Toyota. The Saudi clocked the 5th fastest time and is 11th overall. After struggling with his navigation yesterday, Mikko Hirvonen achieved another great special. The Finn finished 3rd and is only 5 minutes away from a podium spot. Cyril Desprez is learning really fast. 2nd yesterday, he finished 6th today. In his 2nd year driving a Peugeot, the former biker is 10th overall. And a precious helping hand for his teammate Peter Hansel.
Actually, we are not right.
It's because at the top?
Yes.
We'll go back up again.
Yes, that's better. Yes.
Another solid performance by Giniel de Villiers. The South African in his Toyota had to settle for 6th spot and can feel the pressure of Mikko Hirvonen hunting down his podium. For Loeb, his navigation problems seemed to be behind him, and he was at his best again on the way to San Juan. But with 2 kilometers to go, the Frenchman broke his drive shaft and had to wait for the help of his teammate Desprez. He eventually finished 2nd, despite the problems.
Cap 100 derrière pour le début de la zone.
Nice and easy. Stefan Peter Hansel cleared the stage without any major concerns. The Frenchman lost time, but has such an advantage overall that he could afford it. He eventually crossed the line with the 4th best time. It's all about managing the race for Monsieur Dakar right now. One extra stage done, and we're one step closer to the final podium. But it was very stressful. We kept on listening to the car and to the engine. The chances of winning a 3rd Dakar are slowly fading for Nasser Al-Attiyah. Today was one of the last possibilities to make a difference, and the Qatari pushed hard as usual, and that gave him a 2nd stage success this year. But he remains way too far behind Peter Hansel, 51 minutes.
Really very hot. I was pushing all the way, and I'm quite happy to win the stage, and Last 30 kilometer we broke the front drive shaft. You know, we have only two wheel.
So some work tonight for the Mini team, but they get another stage win at the hands of Nasser Al Attiyah. 5 minutes to the good over Sebastian Loeb. Two Peugeots, second and third. Nanny Roma, his best result of the rally so far. But in the overall, the gap now is still massive. 51 minutes between Peter Hansel and Nasser Al Attiyah. But look at the fight for the final podium spot. There's a fairy tale between South Africa and the Dakar that peaked back in 2009 when Giniel de Villiers won the rally in a Volkswagen.
Unbelievable feelings, you know, I still cannot believe it.
Since then, the country's passion for the Dakar hasn't stopped.
Giniel obviously has done well, and you know, we've come now and we're starting to perform, and everyone in South Africa is starting to enter more cars every year, and I think it's good for the sport.
Like the Toyota squad, several other teams are based in South Africa. But why such a passion for the event?
It's a big country, and there's a lot of opportunities to ride in off-road terrain. So people are mad about their 4x4s, and they like to follow races like the Dakar for sure.
I mean, South Africa is mad about motorsport, and of course a lot of it is aligned with coming to Dakar at some point. I mean, this is the big race, the most difficult motorsport event in the world.
There's a huge market in South Africa for 4x4 and off-road vehicles, and the Dakar, especially having moved to South America and being on the same latitude, has become a challenge which a lot of South Africans really want to share and enjoy.
So South Africa has a big influence on the building of cars. I think there's almost 30% of the cars in the Dakar this year are built in South Africa.
A South African Toyota is currently third overall and on its way to another podium. Now the question is, with such passion, when's the Dakar going to move to South Africa?
In 1992, the Dakar did finish in Cape Town with the Paris-Le Cup, and I think, you know, there's always a possibility. Whether it's a reality, we have to see.
Today in the trucks, it was much more like it for the Kamaz team. Eduard Nikolaev will not give up until the final stage is done. The Russian was fastest at the halfway mark today and gaining time on his rival, De Roy. Meanwhile, his teammate Irat Mardiev was also pushing hard, putting the pressure on his rivals for a top 5 spot. Last year's champion knows he won't retain his title, but he can still hope for that podium spot. But the big question is, can Gerard de Roy cope with the pressure? With 3 stages to go, the Dutchman only now has a slim 27-minute advantage. Nothing in the trucks. At the halfway mark, he's lost close to 7 minutes on Nikolaev. Pressure mounting all the time on the big Iveco. Today's fast stage was also a struggle for his teammate Federico Villagra. At the halfway mark, the Argentinian had lost over 20 minutes to Nikolaev and virtually moved off the podium. In the truck race, everything is changing as the time ticks down. And it wasn't the best day for Martin Colomy in his little Tatra either. The Czech enjoyed a good start to the Dakar, but since then, it's become a nightmare. All he can hope for now is a place in the top 20. His day is getting tougher and tougher, and it's not over yet. The trucks are still racing on.
Dakar. Hopefully tomorrow it's a little bit cooler than what it was today, which was really hot, and hopefully we can have a normal stage where we can just ride and not try to survive the heat.
I'm now back in the bivouac. I've had a terrible race with a fuel system playing up totally on me. Been out 3 nights in a row on the stage. My co-driver Bert Heskes and I have been working on cables, changing stuff, and the mechanics been tearing their hair trying to find out what the problem is. Maybe it was the rain in the start of the Dakar that caused the problems that finally got us. So I'm very sad to say that Dakar is over.
2 stages to go, and tomorrow is a monster, the longest stage of the Dakar. 481 kilometres of special await in the final true grueling test of the 2016 race. We've come a long way to get here. Time is almost up, but the race will keep on. Just 2 more days before we crown our victors. Tomorrow we leave San Juan and cross Cordoba, the Via Carlos Pass.